Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Life Theories. This is Jay, all the way from Australia. It is 6:39 in the morning, and here is my beautiful friend Diana over in Virginia, and we're going to talk retrogrades because retrogrades is such a wonderful thing. Oh, I love a good retrograde.
Yep.
Yeah. You can see I'm loving it. Yeah. Anyway, there's everyone talks about retrogrades and stuff with regards to how it's making them feel. Yes, it's a pain in the neck. We know that, but there's always good of it as well. As it looks down on me and goes, I'm going to get you, but you better tell her how good it is. How you going there, Diana? What's that?
We've talked about this on previous shows, Mercury retrograde, how things are kind of, communication, everything's backwards, even technology, things like that. I noticed the big thing is communication for me usually. Things are misinterpreted, misunderstood. Yes, some technology issues too. And also things from the past are kind of going backwards. So I noticed that issues from the past, maybe things that triggered you, or, ex-boyfriends, girlfriend, right? People from your past, maybe they were toxic, come back around in some kind of weird form. And it's kind of how we've talked about in other videos, how, are you the new version or not? But this time, there's also, let me see what other planets are retrograde. I think I sent, hold on. Okay, so apparently, also Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, and we already said Mercury. Though they're all...
Well, lovely. Yeah. The only good one out of there is Jupiter.
Yeah, so Jupiter, it says, reminder that we need to do the work in order to achieve our dreams. Pluto, it says, urge us to evaluate our relationship with power, embrace your inner power, and use it to empower others. Mercury says, evaluate how you communicate actively and remain present. Neptune smashes illusion. It gives us the surprising opportunity to see ourselves more clearly, forces you out of your comfort zone. Uranus is time for a new path towards accomplishing older intentions, using its energy to help us think creatively. Saturn, revisit karmic lessons, which are gentler and more familiar, focus on self-discipline.
You can see how sarcastic I'm looking.
Good times.
Look, you can see how sarcastic I am. Oh, yeah, I really enjoy it. Yeah. Look, it's, oh, God. Communication with, okay. Communication with people at vibration level. Excuse me. I don't know what to say. I really don't. I just go, yeah, fantastic. But look, we always come out of it good. We always do. And I know this was all going to happen. And we just sit there. We chatted last night about stuff. And I think that, I believe that at this time, we are, as spiritual warriors, or however you want to put it, being put through the ringer now, because now we have to actually get rid of those other old programs, I guess, or just that. And also we're going to be tested now, because we're going to have to act differently, or they're going to see what kind of person they have developed. It's like doing a test. It's like, you learn something, now you're going to be put under the real test in the real world, and I've been put through that, and I think I passed, don't get me wrong, but yeah, what do you reckon there?
So I mean, that there's a lot of different things, but like we always say, if you can find the silver lining in it, if you can find the lessons, that's it, just showing you, it's revealing, hey, this is what's blocking you from moving forward, this is what you need to do. I had an example where I had someone I dated in the past for a while reach out to me. Not surprised, it's retrograde, they say that happens, but in a good note, it was, I don't want to say triggering, but my ego got in the way before in the past, and I mean, we both had issues. I'm not trying to go deep into that. That would take a long time to describe, but I think it's a good chance to open up your throat chakra more, to communicate your wants, to clarify certain things. So the way we ended off or left, was kind of weird, and it seems like there's a misunderstanding on both ends. So I said what I had to say, how I felt, and I was a little bit expressive, a little bit, maybe a little bit anger, but I was just being real and authentic, things that were bothering me, and I didn't like how things left off and my side of it. But then because I opened up, it also encouraged him to open up, right? And explain his side of it, which then it made me think, man, this wasn't all like against me. You know, sometimes we internalize things, right? And our ego gets in the way, we get hurt. If we feel abandoned in a kind of way, if we feel rejected, our ego gets hurt, right? And it seems like that was going on both ends, not just mine. I'm so focused on me and what's going on with me, but he also had other things going on in his life. And it was kind of good, even though I came off a little bit aggressive a little bit. But I was, it was bottling up emotions for a while. I say suppression is depression, so I thought it'd be the best to get out. I still did say it I could have been a lot crazier, but, I just kind of said something, well, I felt this, I just kind of said what I thought, and I thought, that's a big step for me, because sometimes we don't want to express the way we feel, because we don't want to get hurt, we don't want to be rejected, we don't know if they're going to return the same thing, and I don't really care if this person returned the same thing at this point. I just wanted to get my side and express how I feel, so I could that's me being more vulnerable, and that person was a little bit emotionally unavailable anyway, so that can be tough when you have two people that are a little bit emotionally available. Sometimes I get like that in relationships, even though on my videos seem good, obviously it's something that, I've had to work on. Everyone's been hurt in the past and no one wants to say how they really feel, but if you don't say how you really feel, the person's not going to know, and maybe he didn't know that I was feeling that way. I thought, he's doing this intentionally this whole time, right? And then I figured out, this was just, his perspective was completely different, and he actually felt that way that I felt, but from some of the things I said and did, which I'm not saying makes anything acceptable, we both were wrong, and I admitted I was wrong, before I was like, oh, you did this, but I was like, you know what, I do accept that I might have said or did this, but my intention wasn't that, so it just, it's a good opportunity to clarify things. It's a very uncomfortable conversation, but I don't really care. I'm just becoming more, authentic, accepting my authentic self, and I don't need the validation from anyone, When you just validate yourself, validating yourself more is just being authentic, expressing how you feel. It's not easy, but, had I expressed this before, this might have not ended up this way. I'm not trying to regret what happened, but it could have had a different outcome. But, I was too in my ego, like, oh, I'm not talking to you till you talk to me, or, oh, we got in this stupid argument. It was kind of dumb, actually, but I was in my ego. I was like, I'm not reaching out first. Screw it, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of stuff. So that's just one thing. And, are other things coming up? In general, I just think you have to just say what you mean. It's very hard for people to do that. And, a lot of people in this, say, matrix or whatever, or this world, are a different person on social media, or a different person. A lot of people are putting up, like, personas, or they want to appear a certain way. But we all have emotions. We all have feelings. So we all have some of the same issues. We share similar experiences, and I think we forget our connection. We're so in our own head and our ego and everything, but that person is not on a pedestal. That person is not much. They're experiencing some of the same feelings that you have, and and by you expressing it, you might actually encourage the other person to, whether it's a relationship, friendship, I'm saying in any aspect, or even a family member, right? Even like with my dad, my mom had passed, in a traumatic way, and now I'm working on my relationship with my dad. I'm communicating how I feel. Before I was like, I don't want to argue with him, or I don't want to do this. Now I'm just going to say it because I don't really care anymore, because I'm sick of like assuming that people understand where I'm coming from. They don't. A lot of the times they don't, and especially relationships or difficult people or family members, they don't. Sometimes they're on a completely different vibration, and that's it. Sometimes too. Sometimes it isn't always intentional. Like they meant to hurt you. They're just on a different, like I'm not saying it means I'm better than anybody. Just you're on a different wavelength.
No, you're not.
They are not.
No, that's right.
They are not seeing it from the same perspective that you are seeing it, and vice versa. And that's why there's a misunderstanding. When you're not on the same vibration, it's not always like, oh, this person is wrong, or this person is bad, or intentions are bad. I'm not saying that no one has bad intentions, but sometimes they're just literally on a different wavelength, and they can't understand you. You can't understand them, and you have to accept that maybe that's the case, and maybe choose to associate with people that do understand you. It's hard to have a relationship with someone that you're not on the same vibration level. Family members, okay, what are you going to do, disown your family members? Some people do not talk to them as much, but if you can just accept that, and like my dad, stop trying to explain myself to someone that he's never going to get it, and in his eyes, he's always right anyway, but that's a whole other thing. So I just have to accept it. I'm like, okay, that's cool. We can agree, disagree, but I'm not going to exert my energy, overexert, trying to explain something to someone that just doesn't matter how many different ways I explain. Doesn't matter, have evidence of something in your face. They just aren't gonna get it.
Yeah, I get it. I get that. It's no. How's this one? First thing that came to me when you said about an ex-partner is pretty much, obviously there's a value there that you wanted to, not to mend things, but you wanted to be the way you are. Like you decided to, right, I'm just going to say it how it is, but you sort of had that connection, that inner trust and that deep feeling for him. Like, and you could go, right, I want to clear this air. Whereas I'll give you an example of someone that came up and they said the same thing to me, but I thought, look, do I want to waste my time? Because they're not that important in my life. That sounds really bad, but they're not that important for me to go, do I need to go into it? And would they accept what I say? I go, probably not, because I've already got a vision, because you don't know you. Whereas your situation, you've already had that deep meaningful, so you could actually go and do it. Whereas you've got to just, for me, I'm just picking my battles because, number one, I'm tired and I can't be bothered. But people's bloody, there you go. But I can't be bothered with it. But I'm not going to clean up people's mess as well. You know, I'm just going to go, yeah, okay, you're all right. Yep, no worries. And I think I got taught that in the Shadow Warrior course. You have to just value where you're at. Is it really worth it? Nah, they're going to give you, they've got the same opinion, obviously, and, you know, you don't know them very well anyway. So, you know, whereas in situations come and go, okay, this is, how do you negotiate your way through? Because people are not living in the ego as well. They're not living in it. Sorry, they're living in it. Sorry, apologise. They're living in it. So I'm happy to negotiate if it's someone that directly affects me.
Yeah.
And you have respect for them like you are. I'll happily. Do I want to fuel the fire, or do I want to be a good negotiator?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in that case, right, depending on what the situation, whether you negotiate or whether you not negotiate, but you tell your truth to go, okay, yeah, is this worth it? La da 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 da. You just sort of just try to don't fuel the situation, because a lot of people's egos go in certain situations. You know what I mean? And you just got to sort of try to have a level head with things, and you got to be careful as well with certain situations.
I also learned, like, another thing about that is, like, if you're feeling really emotional and triggered, it might not be the best time to respond if you're actually trying to come to some kind of conclusion or solution. Because I kind of did that yesterday, and I was just kind of, you know, I also have a lot of emotional things from some of what's been going on with me recently. So if I had just stepped back a little bit, I could have responded a little bit better and eliminated some of the back and forth, the he said, she said, you know, because it was going into kind of that. And I caught myself doing that. I was like, oh, wait, I'm starting to react. And that's because I suppressed that there's stuff I didn't say to this person for a while. So I can understand why. But had I waited a little bit, you know, like, it could have maybe just been more to the point, more neutral, then it evoked emotions for him. And then he got triggered, and we both did, because we both were triggered by kind of the same thing. It was weird. But it's hard to step away sometimes.
Can I cut you there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off there. Would you think that, like, people say they don't say anything because they don't want to express, right? But knowing the volatile people, see, I look back on it, I'm glad I haven't spoken up in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
Because is it worth it? Is it really worth the hassle? Because of the fact we control our egos. Oh, look out, here's court. We control our egos, but other people can't. And it really isn't our job to control people's egos, because I think there's a lot of people who have to do a lot of work to understand that too. And there's people there who are open to it. That's fine. Who will come to see us. But I'll put it on a general person who lives this life. I don't think they can do that, and that's where we've got to sort of. You know, it sounds really bad. Are you wasting your time? You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Is it better just to go, okay, that's good. You do what you got to do, and you leave, and you put more energy into other things. Because I know previously, number one, I used to hold myself in a lot. Oh yeah, all the time, because it wasn't worth. Not to say it wasn't worth it, because I didn't want to say anything, because it might have indirectly affected me. I didn't know how to cope with it. There you go. I'm open with that. Coping with it better now, and it's still, to me, that people's egos come in, but I think it's the respect between people as well that you get. You know what I mean? Because even though you work out whether it's worth it and the respect you can actually speak about, and putting yourself into a situation, diffuse situations, because most of the situations are a load of bullshit. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's absolute bullshit. You know, they're not worth it. It really isn't. It's not like a serious situation. It really isn't. Is it really that serious? Probably not in the scheme of things.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. You know, I need
You know,
that one.
yeah. Is it really? Can you modify a situation to make it? And the other thing is, if someone comes up, like yesterday, a point came up, being aware. It's only making you aware when things happen. I know that these things happen for more than one reason. We had a situation yesterday, had to be aware of it, and it's basically social media. And, you know, maybe the viewers can give us their opinions on that, but negative comments on social media, you have to just...
Yep.
But how and where, how you be sensitive to it. Like, is there a situation where you can be where you be sensitive to it? And how sensitive do you be? You go, you don't know these days, because it's not like back in the day, but people have the power of the keyboard and all this kind of stuff. And if you are doing something that is a little, not controversial, but something that they don't agree with, they can easily share it, whatever else. So not a case of being overprotective or even watching, but you just got to be aware that there's people out there who just have nothing better to do. And that's the way it is, and everyone knows this.
Yeah.
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, I think it's just what you said, whether that's online, whether it's ex-boyfriends, parents, whoever. Yeah, I think that I like what you said about, is it really worth it? Like, what are you trying to accomplish out of that? Is it worth it? Do you want this person in your life even? Or a family member might be a little different, or you just got to step back. If it's something you can't ignore, whether it may be a coworker or something, or a parent, you know, if you're in a living situation where you have a room, whatever the situation may be, but you have to just learn when to pull back your energy sometimes. And as empaths, that can be difficult, because sometimes I'm not even worried about me. Sometimes I'm getting in the head of them. I'm like, oh, I imagine how they must feel and stuff. But sometimes they don't care, and they're all about, you know, sometimes they're just more concerned about them and what they can get out of it anyway. But perfect. But they can easily manipulate to make it seem like, you know, like they care, because they know, you know, like, and they know you're a nice person, a good person, you know what I mean? And you absorb people's emotions. And then at the end of interacting with them, you don't feel good, right? Your energy's all effed up, you know? That happens to me a lot. So we just have to realize what's worth, our energy and what's not. But it can be difficult, because you can feel a pull sometimes to try to over-explain yourself, or to make things right, or to feel better about the situation, or maybe feel like you're making some kind of difference, all right? And also, if you're trying to make a difference in a person's life, sometimes the person doesn't want to change either. And so there's just a lot of different... I think, despite everything, you know, I made a video on energy vampires recently, right? And it just... But energy vampire, it's not just people, it's like distractions, right? Anything that's taking your energy. I know it sounds... simple, right? But we don't realize how many things take our energy during the day, and like we feel drained, and we don't know why sometimes. And sometimes we're absorbing other people's energy. Sometimes it could be things we're listening to, people, of course, but anything just taking time away from your purpose, your fun in life, your passion, things like that. So just always, where are we putting our energy? Where are we focusing our energy on? All the time. It's a lot. And a lot of people aren't really worth it. I don't know. So the question is, why do we interact with certain people that we know are taking our energy, that we know are taking our time? Like, why? There's something we're trying, like, what are we trying to accomplish? It could be, maybe there's some kind of limiting belief there. There's something that's triggering us, that's like making us trying to prove something. Sometimes you're trying to prove something, we get in our ego too much, and we're like, oh, I just want them to see it from this perspective. Oh, I just want them to feel bad for what they did to me. Or I want them to, I want them to change. Like sometimes it's I don't know. We have to question. I have to do that for myself. Even my situations I've had recently. I'm like, what am I trying to get from interacting with? What do I really like? Why am I spending so much time and my emotions and energy getting pissed off, or even like taking time away from things I want to do, like getting emotionally triggered by this person when I don't even know, like, do I even see them in my life? Is it, whether it's a relationship, is it going anywhere, or
Well, you got to know. I think the
whatever.
thing is too is like you have interactions with people, and yeah, you're exactly right. What kind of I think if you know what kind of person they are as well, and just
Yeah.
thinking like, as I said, I haven't my work colleagues. No one really knows what I do outside of there. They haven't really taken the chance. Oh, we'll jump on Facebook and stalk him. No one's done that. Like no one's done that. They're
I don't
probably.
want
I
anybody
reckon.
to.
Well, I don't want them to either. That's exactly right. But It's interesting. I think, as I said, I think I told you last week about when you say you go to a new place, um, like I have, and having the theory of out of 10 times how many times do people actually physically go, hi, how you going? I could say most of the people at the joint I have, nah, I have to make the initial contact. I have to make the initial hello, but I see them doing the same thing to others, but not to me. So, you know, it's just a little test. Unless they're in your face, they can't not. But it's even then, and I just do the same thing back. I just want to now I do the test back, see what happens.
Yeah.
It's very interesting with people, and I think the other thing is social media is such a big thing these days too. We're talking about relationships and all those kind of things, but um, you know, saying things a particular way and doing what you're doing, you still got to be careful. You really do. Careful, not just be aware. I think it's more being aware and going rightio. Let's see what happens here. Because I mean, I've had stalkers. You've had stalkers. I'm sure that mate. I could go into what one of them. Jeez, tell you what, that's a. Oh no, it was bad. It was bad, really bad. But we'll go into that later. But yeah, just it's an interesting time to actually be aware. And it's probably you're right too. Is the way you've done it. Someone you cared about in the past. You go, okay, I want to clear the air with them. And at this level, you've learned how to assert yourself in that way, which is awesome. That's great.
Takes a
Really
lot.
good.
Well, I think it's more of sometimes why don't we do that in the past? We're afraid to get hurt. We're afraid of not getting validation from them. We're afraid of being rejected, right? But now I don't care because like I said, when you do inner work, when you validate yourself more, and you don't really, you're just expressing yourself. I'm not saying you need to go be rude to the person, but just expressing what you need, communicating. Like we're adults, man, and I think a lot of relationships I were in, I didn't do that, and then they ended up pretty crazy or just ended up bad or on a bad note. And like I mean, and I'm not saying all our relationships are gonna end good, but like if there's things I wish I would have said a long time ago that could have prevented a lot of the turmoil, a lot of or just realizing the person isn't really for you. Because if you've expressed this is what you want, this is what you're looking for, this is what's important to me, and that person's not on the same wavelength, and you find out, then you're like, hey man, is this person someone I really want to continue with? They have a similar lifestyle to me, things like that. But sometimes we don't. Sometimes we fit more into the mold that they want, right? Like for me, I would kind of go more in their role. I would even move in with them, right? But it's like I didn't feel like I was my own person for a while.
Yep.
And because I didn't want to express, I just kind of go along with them, be the person they wanted to be, and that I think that comes from the inner child stuff too.
Yep.
Maybe a relationship with my father, maybe not feeling good enough, not feeling validated. So I'm trying to be like the perfect whatever, physically, mentally, spiritually, right, whatever for that person. But then I lose myself in the process. But now I feel more confident in myself. I've done a lot of work. I've learned to spend time alone and be happy alone. I couldn't even do that before. I couldn't even spend. I hated being alone. I always had to have a guy I was with. And then I got into the addiction stuff too. That was part of it. It's like I didn't, and that comes from, I guess I just wasn't happy with myself, But now that I am happy with myself, now I'm attracting people, and even people from my past. Other people are reaching out to me, but now I'm like, some people I have no interest in because I've changed my vibration enough. I'm like, I'm not really vibing with who like, I'm not that person anymore. That was an old me vibe with them. I'm saying like other people, even guys from my past. You know, when you're putting yourself out there more, when you have better energy, right? Putting a high vibration out there and doing good things, better things, more aligned with the life purpose, that energy is magnetic and attractive, right? But some people are also trying to bring it back down, but also you're going to attract more people, and we just have to be mindful of, like I said, who we're getting, what we're giving our energy to.
You said something interesting. I can't remember. I've just gone blank. But what was I going with that one? People coming back into your life and all those kind of things, and working out a vibration. Like, you know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of making initial contact. I'm over it. Like, I have to make the effort to go and say hello to people. Right? Okay. That sounds really bad, ladies and gentlemen, but I think all my life, I've always made the effort. Right? Why can't others make the effort? So I just don't call everybody and everything. I just do my own thing. And if I want to call someone, I'll call someone. See, my belief is if your connection's that strong, it shouldn't matter if you talk every day or talk every 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? That's always been my belief. But, you know, it's like, and I don't begrudge anybody who doesn't call me over 6 months. I don't do it at all. You know, if I value them and they're valued in my life and they value me, there shouldn't be any issue. There shouldn't be any issue, really. Let's be honest, it shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to talk to everyone every day if you don't want to. But the other thing is, friendships are both ways. Like, I look back, I sat back, even today, now, like right now, this is where it's all sort of hit me. You've said a few good things, and I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute, I make so much bloody effort with other people. Bloody, there you go. Why can't they make it with me? And look, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people are these days. And look, I'm a social person. Yes, I like to talk, but then also I think you value yourself and trust yourself. That I guess in some ways, I don't know about yourself, but do you think you were socializing with regards to your energy where you were, and that value and worth thing where if I don't pick up the phone, they won't value me? Because I think I know that was part of mine for sure. What do you think? Do you think that might have been part of yours as well, or does that make sense? Does that make any sense at all? I'm probably rambling a bit.
I know, and I have some friends that say that, and yeah, I've been on both sides of that coin. I'm not always the initiator. I mean, sometimes I do things as I feel called, but I'll just speak from the other side of that. From sometimes why I don't reach out to people, it doesn't mean I don't value them as a friend or anything. Sometimes I'm just in my own and dealing with my own stuff, and
Exactly.
Yeah, we are kind of self-centered, yeah, it's true, but sometimes it's, you know, I have friends I haven't talked to in a while, and you know, even I could go months without talking to certain people, and then I talk to them, and it's like, you know, we pick up where we left off. It just, sometimes I just, from my end, why I do that to people, I just need to prioritize myself. There's things I need to work on. I'm going through some tough things, and I reach out when I can, but I mean, I don't put any time thing of like, oh, this person hasn't reached out to me in a week, a month, 6 months. You know what I mean? It could be, and you have different connections with different people. I've had people I don't talk to in a year, 6 months, you know, but they're different levels. I think you just have different connections with everybody. It's hard to compare, and some people are just busy doing their own thing in life, and then you connect when you connect. I mean, I go through stage where, especially spiritual awakening, when you go through stuff like that can be tougher, and sometimes you have to spend more time alone to know what you want, and sometimes maybe the person's energy is too much sometimes, or not enough, or not what I need at the time. And I know it should be a fair exchange. It's not like it's a business transaction here. It should be a friendship, but sometimes I'm just not in the mood to hang out with someone. But like, I'm isolating myself a lot. I want to say isolate online. Okay, I talk to people, but like, in person, I'm very selective right now on who I spend my time around. I have goals I'm trying to accomplish now. I'm trying to get with my YouTube, my job, and I also have self-care. And some people just make me feel differently or pull me off my track I'm trying to go on, or even to inspire people, right? Some people just, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I get where you're going. I think people just don't understand.
So my whole point is, I wouldn't take it always personal. It's not always, oh, this person's not my friend. Yeah, but, or, hey, if you're not happy with the amount that you think you should be talking to them more about this relationship or friendship, hey, you need to communicate that. Otherwise, people don't know. There's some people that just have their own way of doing things. Like, my brother, for example, he's a super introverted person, right? I barely see him hang with anybody. He has friends he doesn't talk to for months, but he's just very, like, introverted, and doesn't mean those people aren't his friends. Just, like, some people hang out more often, some people talk more often, some people aren't even talkers. There's some people, I don't really talk on the phone much to anybody. There's, like, one friend I talk to on the phone. A lot of people, my stuff's on, like, social media. Well, most of my friends are now other countries because of YouTube and stuff, and from full-time purpose group and stuff, but, I don't know. I just wouldn't always take it personal, but if there's something you're not happy with, if you don't communicate, they don't know, or you could ask them, hey, I haven't heard from you all, what's going on? You could find out it could be something, like, maybe serious, and they just don't know how to handle it, and after seeing what happened with my mom and stuff, some people aren't doing too good, and some people, that's their way of dealing with it, is kind of, like, isolating. Some people aren't, like, extroverted, we get more energy more from people, I'd say, but I'm learning to become a little bit more, happy being alone more often, so I'm not always reaching out to people like I, used to either, and it's something personal. I value them as a friend, I'm just in a different mode sometimes,
I think it's I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's just basically you value people. Like, I was saying to someone, as I said, the value and there's a lot of things going on with me, and that's just valuing what I want, and also getting rid of what I don't need in my life, and to become a better person, to do what I need to do. So it's always been a point the last couple of years, especially, to say you need to get rid of something because there's new stuff coming. All this work you've been doing is not for nothing. I know that already. But we have to have the guts to move on. But this is the point. Say workmates again. I go back to, because this is a really good example, and they just don't know what you do. And then they come back and say you're, oh, well, as I said, it had not an altercation, but you don't like me. I mean, what was that? Yeah, okay. And I go, I look at myself. And when someone says something to you, you always look at yourself. I go, okay, have I done anything really that could be but we have to understand that people are different. Okay? Now, being a new person and what it is, and then when you're you're in enemy territory, do you really, can you really trust anyone that's in that? When you go into somewhere in enemy territory, can you trust the enemy? It sounds really bad, but it's a good analogy where you're new and you go, who do I trust? Who do I really trust? Because trust is something that trust is is probably the greatest thing you can give someone. I don't think people realize how much, when you give someone their trust, when you give someone your soul and their trust, how much they value it, because their friggin' ego is so far out of control. Yeah. They'll put you under the bus. And you and me have both been there, and Sarah's been there, and so has Cortez. We've talked about this on previous life theories. So, it's an interesting time where, I think we're learning about ourselves, being aware, as I said, being by ourselves. I mean, I'm a very social person, but I'm also people don't realize how much of a bloody introvert I am. I do like my own time and do like doing my own thing, but I got to complement that with the social aspect. I do love having a chat with people, going around to people's houses and, just being social. So you got to try and find that balance. But I think at the end of the day, we accept us for who we are. Like, now I'm what I am, and you live by that rule. If no one likes it, bad luck. We're not out to hurt anyone. We're not doing anything to hurt anybody. And it's just, you got to accept the person for what it is and what their life is. If you really knew what people don't know what journeys on what people's journeys are. That's what people do, and the stuff they come out with, but I'll tell you right, here's one for you. They don't know what journey you're on, but I'll tell you what, they're ready to shove their journey down your throat. Oh my God. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. No, I appreciate you going through some hard times. But they'll shove their journey down your throat. But when you want to say something, they go, "Oh, right, okay," and then their ego gets involved and go, "That's not about you." So there you go. That's what that's an interesting thing because people don't accept people for what they are. They just don't want to, especially if you're different. You look different. You got to deep, and the vibration for us is huge. If someone, people want that vibration, want to be in that vibration. When you reject it because they're trying to pull you down or whatever, or you see something that you want to get away from, or you're just the way you are and you don't really connect or whatever, people's egos get hurt, man.
Yeah, I think the best thing to understand is also, well, yeah, and what they're telling you is just the tip of the iceberg. You don't know there could be a lot more struggles than
That's right.
that like a lot. You can be health struggles, really emotional things, trauma. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on, but we have to understand that there are seasons and cycles, right? I've been reading the book on the 7 Hermetic Principles, right? And they talk about rhythm and stuff, and but there are, and everything's like patterns, season cycles, and we have to understand not everybody, people are in and out of your life just like that. Someone that you're really that close to, like you have to think about when you were a kid, the friends you had, right? You had a best friend, right? And then you get older, right? And then your relationships, Earth is a school, right? But it's everything's, the physical experience is all temporary, so people are constantly making changes, moving, or they're just changing their vibration. Sometimes they fall out of vibration, make life changes, they literally physically move away. People are constantly changing and moving, and sometimes we can get attached to, oh, this person was my friend, they've been through all this within a relationship or whatever. I have history with this person, right? But energy keeps moving, and that can be a tough one to handle, and sometimes you just don't have much in common. You ever have someone you used to be really good friends with and you have nothing to talk about, right? You're on a different vibration, you're doing different things in life. And like I said, it's not that you're better than them or spiritually better, but sometimes I just don't have much to talk about. I'm just not, and we have to be okay with letting people go sometimes that aren't. It's okay for people to fall, in something personal. It just, you're doing different things in life, and it's maybe not a match. And it doesn't mean it will never be in the future. Just maybe right now where you're at, it's just not vibing with, for some reason it's not connecting. So but it can be hard to let people go when you care about, when you have feelings, whether it's friends, relationships, or anyone. And that can be a tough pill to swallow. And and also if you don't have a good sense of self-worth sometimes, or just have some, inner work you need to do, or you get triggered easily, that could be triggering, kind of like, oh, I'm not worthy, this person doesn't value me, or we get offended sometimes. But it's a lot of times it's not personal is what I'm saying, like we think it is. And it can be hard. I'm not saying we should accept people to treat us like or you're with someone, they ghost you or move away, whatever, but just like we're always making changes too. Look how much we've changed in the past year, and and also sometimes do you ever think of this the opposite way? Maybe on a good note, like you made a lot of positive changes. We have live a healthier lifestyle. We're doing a lot of things. Not saying we're perfect, but we're doing a lot of things. Maybe there's some people kind of like can't keep up, or they don't want to change, and maybe sometimes it can even make them feel bad that they're not doing things to better themselves. Sometimes like how we say, your light triggers somebody. Sometimes you doing well actually triggers somebody that knows they could be doing better, or wishes they were doing what you're doing, or at least on that path. They aren't on that path and they can't get there. So, and that's why even in social media, right, you get the negative comments sometimes, especially when we're doing what we're doing with our videos and inspiring people, even memes. I can't tell you how many times I've had an inspiring meme that triggers somebody. I'm like, all right, you can just like keep scrolling and not comment or just unfollow me, but it's cool. But they won't unfollow you, right?
Thank you so much again for looking at coming in and subscribing and sharing to Live Theories. Hit that bell. Comments are always appreciated. Thank you so much. We'd love to have some guests on very soon. And welcome, ladies. If you think Mercury retrograde's not working, or you don't believe in it, have a look at it right now, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, sure, God, bloody hell. Anyway, I don't get to see the beautiful Diana. Now I'm sitting here in the black. Looks like, okay, we're going to give you this to see how you react. And guess what? I won. She won. We're the kings of the castle and queen of the castle here. So yeah, I would have reacted like this. I would have cracked it, but I've passed the test today, so there you go.
That's what we're talking about.
So it's great. Anyway, next week, hopefully, we'll have Batman and Raven from, it's Sarah and Cortez from the Titans to be on Live Theories, and we'll get the 4 elements together and we'll see how we go. But, just jump on Trailblazer of the Universe. Spiritual Needs TV with the big fella Cortez, who says he misses us a lot. He'll have a lot to say when he comes on, I can tell you right now.
I'm sure.
And Pixie, Sarah over in Canada. Big Sarah, small soul. Hang on, small Sarah, big soul.
Oh my
She's gonna get me.
Small Sarah, big soul, man.
It's 7:35. Hey, I got up at 6. Come on, give me a break.
You'll get it. You'll get it right eventually.
Well, eventually,
Maybe this
yeah,
year
we'll go
you
from
will.
there.
Yeah.
I didn't get it last time. I've got proof of it. It's on the video. Anyway, small Sarah, big soul. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next week, and it's been awesome. And always stay true to yourself and learn those lessons. It's going to be hard the next couple of weeks, but remember, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and yeah, you're going to be a better person for it, and we'll look back and go, oh, remember that? Do that. Diana, have a great day. Thanks very much. Peace out. Love yous. Take care.